So, hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Let's Chat on the Plug in India channel. In this episode of Let's Chat, we speak to Mr. Syed Mubasheer, who is the founder of Despat, a Chennai-based company who has been working on battery pack design and high-capacity polymer battery solutions and large-scale lithium-ion batteries for more than a decade. Recently, Mr. Syed founded a new company, a very interesting startup called Celestial E-Mobility, which aims to create high-performance electric vehicles. Now, let's find out a little bit more about this. Syedji, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Rafe. Pleasure is all mine.
Definitely, it's always a pleasure talking to you. And you've always been doing very interesting things, bringing new kinds of solutions and technologies to the electric vehicle industry. Tell us a little bit more about what does Despat offer regarding lithium-ion batteries.
Rafi, Despat is an MSME enterprise, design shop for customized lithium-ion batteries. Our approach is to solve those projects that have a requirement for portable energy. We engage with customers that have from the concept through production of a solution that meets the requirements of their host device. So that's what we are. We are a boutique shop for custom lithium battery solutions.
Right. So your clients can be from any sector, not necessarily electric vehicles only.
Well, we started off our journey basically to help Indian scientific labs like DSIR, CSIR connected labs, and several of the Indian defense labs like DRDO and several others, because those are the institutions that we're looking for these kind of solutions initially. And through their help and support and patronage, we've done quite a few projects. Then extended to other industries, including commercial applications, including telecom infrastructure, telecommunication equipment, commercial UPS, solar, renewable. When I say UPS, yeah. And then it gradually became an extension to the electric mobility space that started happening somewhere around 2009-10 time frame.
Right. Can you give us an example of a project which uses the lithium-ion battery design?
I like to talk about those projects which have been of real high value. For example,
Right.
we did a project for a CSIR lab, CMERI in Durgapur. They were making an autonomous underwater vehicle. So we designed, helped, and built a product that goes into the hull of underwater device, which is more like a submarine type of a device. It's a midget device. And
Right.
it has lasted for about 7-8 years. And about 3 years back, they did their final testing of the robust application of that AUV. It's an autonomous underwater vehicle. So it was a vehicle which had two or three different types of battery systems in it. And one was used for propulsion, one was used for controlling the sensitive electronic equipment, and a couple of them were used for talking to the remote setup on the ship. So this was a unique experience, and most of our experiences have been on building projects like these, where customers have a very unique requirement, and we fill in the gap of being their support system or partner in putting that product together. The product we support is basically the battery solution.
And Syedji, what kind of a battery chemistry would do you generally work with in these battery packs? Is it NMC? And your choice of lithium polymer we know about. Why is that something that you choose?
Okay, so we basically compete where the battery weight, volume, and footprint has to be tailor-made for the customer. And this is very critical for the customer's host devices to be successful. And somehow the best chemistry that sort of foots this bill is the NMC most of the time. So it was just that by chance we were getting opportunities more around this technology. We have been familiar with the others, the LFP and others, but some of the projects that was coming our way was around this technology.
And in your experience, you must have a lot of information basically about lithium cell manufacturers and where they are around the world. Where do you generally source your cells from, and which are the good manufacturers according to you, which offer good quality cells?
Well, there are many cell manufacturers in the globe. Basically, as a scouting for our boutique services, we have got cells from the US, from Germany, from Korea, Taiwan, and China in the order of this priority. When I say priority, basically customers which look for very high performance expectations. We've looked at sources where the plants which manufacture these cells have some sort of a semi-automation or automation in their manufacturing capability. Because then we buy cells, they are very consistent. We can buy in small quantities and build battery packs, which are of really high value. See, I like to tell a little about how we build or what kind of projects we undertake, Rafe. We work on what we call as an
Go ahead.
MEB formula. So MEB stands for mission first, equipment next, battery last, and critical. So if our customer who's working to us has this kind of a priority of his project, then we are on this project with them. If the project priority is reverse, if the battery cost is first and very conscious, we as a small enterprise, we as an enterprise can't sort of meet the aspirations of giving them a cost-effective solution. And that's how we have developed our capabilities of building these different unique solutions over the last 17 years.
So while you do this work, Syedji, do you also develop the BMS software and other features, or are they off-the-shelf management systems that you use?
It's been 2 decades that we are on this line. So when we started our journey, we developed partnerships with many friends who are interested in this line of work. So we majorly work with our associates based out of Singapore, Hong Kong, and quite a few of them in Shenzhen. We have developed domestically in Chennai as well as in Bangalore and other cities few solutions, but some of our critical projects, we work with somebody we are very familiar with and we are very confident who can deliver the kind of product we want, and who's also very supportive in doing multiple re-engineering of getting to what we actually need to get to deliver the specifications of the battery that we are building.
Awesome. And a little bit about thermal management. How do you control the temperature of these packs?
So, Rafiji, most of the we are a portable energy systems integrator. So, most of the customers who have come to us require solutions for portable energy, portable applications, and most of the applications that we've done so far in the Indian context are which have small sorties. When I say that, which I mean anything from a 40 minutes playtime to maybe a few hours. After that, the vehicle or the host device is at rest. There's a lot of time for them before the next engagement happens. So in these kind of projects, the customer does not want to have any kind of a parasite load, and thermal is a parasitile load. So when we want to build a product which has to be a small footprint and also has to give energy for a duration of the host device to operate, we try to build systems which are very effective without thermal management. That said, when we went on to build a bigger project, like you saw in the Riva retrofits that we have done, we have tried to use the conventional cooling that is already there in the vehicle. Riva already had the lead acid battery, already had this capability, so we use that to design our system so that we don't have to look for additional ways of managing the thermals. Even when we did the Endura, which is the long distance vehicle, we try to take advantage of the same setup so that we don't have additional loads to drain off our battery. Otherwise, it was impossible to drive 460, 470 kilometers with these additional loads. So some customers do come to us with requirements that need probably liquid cooling. We haven't got into that space yet because either the customer backs off once you tell them the timelines and the project cost, which is fair, it's understandable. But we haven't got that kind of opportunity yet. But it's not that it's not doable.
Right. You also developed some enclosures. Have you developed enclosures for these battery packs?
Rafiji, all the time, the whole suite of putting the battery pack together is our responsibility. So we call ourselves integrators, which means we work with the customer's host device, finding out the space that he allocates, and we build the battery pack with the right packaging, whether it is in plastics or metals or whatever, with the right kind of shielding and other qualification that he wants appropriate to his host device. And then we deliver the full product, which he can just plug and play into his system. That's how we do it most of the time.
So that's definitely part and parcel of your job profile.
Yes. We have undertaken it as a part of our business to deliver a completely ready-to-go solution for the customer many a times.
Awesome. Awesome. And Syedji, we remember from our earliest experiences with you in the Mahabaleshwar Rally that you converted Reva electric cars into better Reva electric cars by replacing the lead acid with lithium polymer batteries. We remember in 2016 we had such a good time with the
Yes,
car which we called Poly because of lithium polymer being in it. And later
it's
on,
all
you developed the Endura,
right.
right, with a 450 plus kilometer range, which was absolutely mind blowing from Bengaluru to Chennai to Mahabalipuram, and I suppose part of the way back. Would your team consider doing more such creative conversions?
Rafiji, we would love to do this kind of work. We have been doing not only in the Riva conversion, we've had a lot of universities go EV racing across the globe. We work with IIT, we work with PIT Vellore, we work with several institutions in and around where the students, which is a team of about 25 to 40 university kids who put these products together. We've built battery packs to the definition of their rule books, and they've gone racing. Coming back to Riva, we did a few after our 2016 trip to Pune and back. That was the time we were testing our own product build, and though we have a lot of interest from the community, the thing is the cost is an inhibition, I think. So we have done about 8 or 10 retrofits to friends in Bangalore and a couple of them in Mysore. Beyond that, we're not doing it commercially as a service. Two reasons. One is we're basically doing for those who love their Riva, they want to continue using it, but they want to get away from the maintenance hassles of watering the
Lead
lead acid
batteries.
batteries. So we've done a few of them. At this point, the cost is an inhibitor. Maybe once we get access to good quality cells, which we will test, abuse, approve, and then we'll come back and say, hey, we can do some more. But till that time, I think
Yeah.
it's going to be in the back burner.
Right. So waiting for technology to catch up a little bit. All right, Syedji, let's move on to something that you've recently done. Let's talk about Celestial E-Mobility. That's a startup
Yeah,
which you've just founded. And
right.
what is the vision behind this startup? Tell us briefly about this.
Basically, it's a coming of two friends together, which is Celestial. I got up with my friend Siddharth about a year and a half, December 2018 to be precise, after a 22-year gap. So it was just a breakfast meet at my place with coffee, and we do two things which have some sort of commonness. One is I'm in this engineering space where I do lithium batteries, and the other thing that I do is I'm into a product design costing. I serve as a cost consultant. He has a knowledge-based engineering capability as a company. So we said, and of course we have a common interest in the electric mobility space. Long story short, the brainstorming said led to let us go build something which is going to be of industrial engineering capability, something that has meaning that can probably get deployed in a domain where there is high value and probably good recognition for the sort of energy or fuel consumption that could probably be saved from running something which is electric versus fossil fuel. So this brainstorming led to the initial idea of what we called as a hauler or advanced hauler. Then later the idea concept became metamorphosized to say an airport hauler because we thought that's an opportunity where there is a lot of green and
Right.
horticulture. So it led into thinking that yes, I think we should build something which is in this traction format. So it became a tractor. That's how
Right.
this thing happened over the few months.
So, Syedji, what are the actual? I mean, it's we've seen some videos of the electric tractor running around, and it's absolutely amazing to see that something of this sort can be an electric vehicle. What are the
Yes.
advantages of having a tractor be an electric tractor?
See, of course, it's already known to you, Rafiji. An electric tractor will have far more lesser moving parts compared to its equivalent ICE uh, uh, vehicle. Um, First thing that will probably come through is it's going to be easy to repair and maintain. It's going to be quieter, lesser operating cost.
Right.
Uh, so another thing we are looking at as a market analysis is there's going to be an increased demand for such electric vehicles in the farming domain, and we wanted to sort of see if that could probably be addressed. there's definitely going to be the impact of higher cost of fossil fuels on this segment, which already is evident. There are quite a few industry case studies that talk about this. Uh, it's probably, if you talk in the Indian context, there's a possibility that farmers could have access to refueling, which is electricity, to recharge their
Hmm.
vehicles at much lower cost, or probably zero cost in many states which are very progressive farming. So taking them into context, we said we should probably look at a tractor as our first build from this enterprise, and that's how we got there.
Wow. So you're right about the fuel part. If there is cheap electricity available, that will definitely reduce the burden on the farmer. And
Yes, sir.
as far as you mentioned, it was very quiet. Is that a factor? And does the performance and the maneuverability of this vehicle also improve?
From the user experience in our first product build, we have not changed that attribute. For example, I would love to build an electric vehicle without a gearbox and all the shifting of gears. But in this first product build, we have all of that available, so that if I give it to a tractor operator, he should feel the same, have the same kind of experience in driving the vehicle. Okay, so it's got zero turn, everything is there. Uh, Going forward, when we build our POC 2 and 3, we'll probably try to get rid of some more elements, which are probably the gearbox, and probably couple the motor to the vehicle's transmission directly. Because at the end of the day, we want to build a product that is going to be even cost effective. So that's an aspiration we have. To get there, we have to do a lot of things which are unconventional.
That's definitely sure for sure, Syedji. What about you mentioned that it's reduction in number of parts. What exactly are the components of an electric tractor, Syedji, in broad
Uh,
terms at least?
Okay. Generally, I would say an electric propulsion would have four systems. It will have a motor, a controller, a battery, and the refueling charge, which is the charger. Right. So over and
Right.
beyond this, you need to have these four wheels. You need to have the steering so that the vehicle can be maneuvered. Uh, so from an electric propulsion perspective, the whole engine block, which has a few hundreds of parts, is now just a singular motor. Okay, what is there is now been replaced by a little black box, which is the fuel tank, which is the battery.
Battery.
So we thought we'll add some elegance to the battery. We said we'll keep it swappable. We'll keep it with the capability to charge faster. We'll also give it a capability to charge from residential power, so that if the
Ah,
idea of somebody to take them back home from a 15 amp socket, they should be able to charge the same battery in about 6 to 7 hours. So that's how we built the vehicle.
wonderful. Yeah, have you also done some research on how the farmers actually use them, what their requirements are, and what have you arrived at so far?
So, very interesting that you ask that, because when we started off this journey of ideating and design thinking for the tractor, we were of the impression that the tractor user, or the farmer or the operator, sits in the morning, he'll probably drive for 4 to 5 hours, which we calls it a day in the afternoon. But that's not the case. We attended as exhibitors with the idea of this electric tractor in few agriculture events, progressive farming events in Hyderabad and other places. And when you talk to farmers saying, hey, if you have a tractor which is electric, you can charge like this from your house residential power. Instead of spending, say, 500-600 rupees of fuel per day, it will cost you about, say, 80 to 100 rupees. Will that be interesting? So while we were doing this survey, we also found out that the farmer drives for about a couple of hours before he takes a break, before he goes on to the next activity or continues driving. So this kind of a thing gives us a chance to look at how we can build our product. So we said, if 2 hours of uh, intense work like plowing or tilling, and there's a break, then that's how we should probably design our vehicle. So we took this kind of inputs from different segments to put into this first product build. We have more that is actually left as packages that we'll probably bring into the second prototype and the third prototype going forward. Uh, I mean, we have some crazy, and I wouldn't say crazy, I think it's a possibility, future requirements that we could have in the tractors. For example, you want to build the next vehicle without a steering wheel. We want to have it
Oh,
with a joystick drive. We want to have it without a seat.
fantastic.
We want to have it with autonomy, because most of the farmers today have a certain piece of land. It could be geo fenced. You can let this tractor run, and it just has to go in certain patterns. And since it's a tractor, I mean, I'm talking about farming in particular. I'm not talking about other segments, which is like airport hauling and others. It goes in a certain, it has a certain behavior or usage pattern. If we can build it and automate it, then we can probably have tractors where like if you know these little robots that you have at home,
Right.
which can do the
The
house cleaning.
Roombas and the right.
Exactly. So imagine the same thing. I go in the morning, unplug my tractor from the charging port, uh, put it in a particular drive pattern, and it goes around my field, and I don't need an operator. That's 15,000-20,000 rupees of savings for a farmer. We understand per month. So these kind of conversations has actually helped us to bring in product ideas. It's not there in the first product, but going forward, we're going to have it. I think when we build the subsequent prototypes.
That sounds absolutely mind blowing, Syedji. This would be a great revolution, and I'm sure farmers will lap it up. Uh, Tell us a little bit about the kind of tractor you've designed. Like, for instance, in motorcycles, you have segments where you have 100cc segment, 150cc segment. Certain of
Right,
them are more popular with the masses.
right.
What segment is this tractor going to be in?
Okay, Rafaji, this first product build is a narrow gauge tractor, uh,
Right.
which means we are looking at a 21 to 25 HP tractor equivalence. That is what we have built in this first prototype. But what we understand is this is basically for us to get a flavor. See, we have a team of 4 partners. We have our own team members, so we wanted to get a feel of how to build a product like this, and we have done it fairly, very nimbly, very quickly, in a matter of what 4.5-5 months, which is I think a feat in itself. But that said, this is not the product which we can probably push or find uh, patronage for, because we understand that most farmers have requirements where 30 HP and above, or 35 HP or 45 HP tractors are the preferences for their whatever daily activities as they do around their farms or subsequent post production requirements. So that's where we have to that we want to look at. It probably would be in that segment that our next prototypes will aim to be built, and we still don't know. We're having good flavor of interest for this product itself. So we'll wait for what the market says. We'll wait for the customer segmentation that will happen. But going forward, we're going to build a couple of prototypes. Will give us a better feel once we have a user
Right.
experiencing these products.
And how much do you think this will cost? Just a ballpark compared to what a diesel tractor would normally cost.
So apart from the efforts that we put on prototyping, we have tried to put a bill of materials cost, wherein at the factory door this
Uh-huh.
should probably cost us 5 lakhs. This is the wish list. We hope we will get there with some more intense engineering that we want to put to sort of achieve that.
And do tell us a little bit about any real life testing that you've done with some farmers. And when will the product be ARAI or ICAT certified?
Okay. So two things happened, Rafi. One is this event. I mean, as a matter of fact, today, on 11th March, we had this product launch, and there was a pipeline of activity to be followed. But as you know, 12th, 13th onwards, we are in sort of a situation where we can't move it to a place where
Right.
to conduct the subsequent test. But we have some interest in Hyderabad, some friends who have mangroves. It's time for harvesting now, so probably we'll take it there with permissions to see if we can try it out there. We'll be doing incremental tests internally before we go to the next level of getting certification from the right authorities. We also are trying to read all the rules about how and what EV certifications for a format like this would be, so that we can have it well prepared and build the right prototypes that can be sent to these agencies for certification.
Awesome. Syedji, we noticed that large manufacturers like, say, Mahindra or the John Deere's of the world, they are not very interested in making electric tractors. Now, what we've seen from the electric vehicle segment is that the big car manufacturers don't generally want to shift very easily. They're in some sort of comfort zone. Do you think the same thing is happening here with the farm equipment manufacturers?
Rafiji, you're in a position of authority from Plug in India. You know a lot from the industry compared to what we do. But that said, as an experience in this journey of building Celestial and the product, we got an opportunity to interact with a few OEM heads. We understand they have their own limitations about how they see a product like this being realized. Well, but to some extent, it probably would be their own, foresight of how they want to take their business. But disruption always happens from the outside. I mean, we don't have to say anything about it. Electric mobility is a good case study of disruption from the outside. Time will tell about how we can probably be successful with a product like this. There's no doubt that it won't be successful. Definitely, if OEMs put their hearts to it, they can achieve, because they have the clout, they have the reach, they have access in all places where they could push their product, service their product, train on their product if they build something like this. The question of why they're not doing it is something that is left to our own imaginations. Well, we'll see what Celestial can do in that space then.
Thank you, Syedji. That was a good answer. We'll let time tell what actually turns up. In the end, I'm sure it's what serves the people the most that will last out and that will come forward.
You said it right.
Tell us a little bit more about Celestial Mobility, E-Mobility, sorry, and what are the milestones for this year, at least considering that the current situation will ease out in the next month or so.
So, as a team, we wanted to build, if you get this product specification right, which we will do eventually, we want to build a few hundreds of them in the next 4 to 6 months. Of course, a lot of things are in the pipeline. That's another set of people who are looking at it. When you look at tractors per se, I'd like to give the big picture, and Celestial being one of the companies that wants to be an OEM in this space. About 8,75,000 tractors have been sold in the last year, and there's a good potential that a small portion of it can get electric in the next not one, if not two, in the next 3 years. We want to have about 8,000 tractors in about 3 years' time. That's the vision. So how we get there, everything is in packages from now till this 36 months. Of course, a few hundreds of tractors in the right format or in some format that can probably get adopted in the next 6 to 9 months is in the.
Okay, so that sounds like a reasonable goal, Syedji, and I would say it's very fast. So you guys are quite nimble. That's, I think, one of the advantages of being a startup. Syedji, thank you very much. All the viewers, please check out Celestial E-Mobility's website. And for more updates, check out the website. It will give you more details about these products. Syedji, if you don't mind, can we ask you a few questions which have come from our community members? So first we have Mr. Atul Gopal from Plug-in India. And he says many E2 electric car owners understand that their batteries are getting old. Many of us would like to get a new battery pack after using our cars. For example, we would look for a battery pack that can go 150 kilometers. So currently the E2 is 120 kilometers.
Right.
And we have a group of 15 to 20 E2 owners who would like to get a new battery pack. Can Despat help create battery packs for these E2Os, and what would it cost approximately?
Okay. So first thing is, if you get a replacement from anybody, I don't think your warranties with the OEM will stand. So that's the first risk that you are willing to sort of undertake and forego warranty.
Right.
Okay. Second thing is, we can find the cells that could probably fit the existing battery space from the original OEMs of these cells. There are different cell manufacturers who make the same format, but the point would be to get cells with the exact dimensions so that it could be easily retrofitted. What will happen is technology has evolved. So what I understand is the same cell dimensions would probably have a higher capacity. So when you have a high capacity individual cell sitting in the same space, you probably can achieve that 150 kilometer marker that you want. But that's a little that's an exercise. It's a process in itself. Looking for a cell manufacturer, finding a set of cells, putting a product together, testing it for whatever the user does, and then establishing and marking it and saying, okay, this will do. For example, Riva took us about 6 months from a lead acid, trying to understand what it does, then stripping out the whole vehicle, then finding what is the space available, then finding a battery put inside it. In the E2O, that will not be the case. It is an LFP cell. There are few manufacturers who make that cell. You can find similar cells with similar cell dimensions with higher capacity. Despat can do, if you have a sort of a maybe Kickstarter effort, maybe Plugin India should try that, wherein you
Right.
get crowdfunding for about 20, 30 from people. We can get BI certification and we can do a product which we can probably build and then give it to all of these enthusiasts who love their e-tours.
Sounds good. I'm sure there'll be many people who will want to take you up on their offer. Actually, Syedji.
Okay.
Just one more question on the same lines. That the battery pack will have to interact with the current IEMS and the controller. So, is there more than just changing the pack that's involved?
See, a battery is an energy storage. It has to be done carefully. If you do a one-to-one cell replacement, then of course there's a way of how you should approach and do that. Then you can use the rest of the system of your vehicle as is: the charger, the intelligent onboard communication and battery management system. Everything can be used as is. I personally have not touched the E2O yet. Many friends have asked,
Right.
"Why don't you find out or get one repair?" As a matter of fact, some friends in Bangalore have said, "I'll give you my E2O. It's already not working. Do whatever you have to do. Even if it gets damaged or
Completely
spoiled is
spoiled.
okay." But
Yeah.
so, but other
All right.
priorities have
So
sort of kept us from that.
that
Sorry.
sounds interesting, Syedji. It's hopeful. Let's see now. Once cars are passing 5 to 7 years, they're all out of their warranties. So I'm sure
Right.
we'll get a lot of candidates, and this kind of each of them wouldn't mind contributing a small amount to crowdfunding this kind of a campaign. So let's see how that goes. We have another question from Kamlesh, from our very own Kamlesh from Plugin India,
Okay.
who says Indian villages and small towns have poor electricity connections. Do you think having an electric tractor will be advantageous to a farmer compared to him traveling far to get diesel and filling it in their diesel tractor?
So it's
So,
probably a myth that all the villages have bad quality electricity. That said, I would say we would probably take these formats of vehicles to progressive farming communities first, where when I say progressive farming communities, where these kind of things are already sort of well established. The powers of high quality, the people believe in adopting newer ways of becoming having higher throughput and productivity. So that will be our first testing grounds. I mean, any electric vehicle launch, for that matter, establishes this case, right? Whether it's a scooter
that's
or
right.
a two-wheeler, it comes into places like say Pune, Delhi, maybe Bombay and Bangalore. You don't find them going to small towns and villages first, right? So that's in the game plan, and there'll be learnings from the field. We'll use that tribal knowledge to build better and leaner and simpler solutions that can be taken to these low quality grid sites also.
Sounds awesome, Syedji. Thank you very much, Syedji, for your valuable time. We've enjoyed talking to you, and I'm sure our viewers will also enjoy learning about this new interesting project that you've been doing. Thank you
Thank you
and
so
take
much.
care.
Thank you so much,
Yes,
Ravi.
thank you,
Thank you
Syedji.
to Kamlesh and
Yep,
Farah with this.
Kamlesh.
Wonderful.